What you're about to learn is how to think about God amidst judgment that we see in the Bible. If you're looking for more content like this, then stay tuned because there's actually going to be a 10-week video series coming up talking about discovering the goodness of God amidst the hard passages of the Bible. Until then, enjoy this quick clip of me speaking at a live event on the judgment of God. Just as a righteous judge does not enjoy sending people to prison, neither does a holy God enjoy executing judgment on the guilty. We see this in Ezekiel 33:11. God says, "As surely as I live, says the sovereign Lord, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked. I only want them to turn from their wicked ways so they can live." Likewise, in Lamentations 3, though God brings grief, he also shows compassion because of the greatness of his unfailing love, for he does not enjoy hurting people or causing them sorrow. We have to take these verses with us when we journey to the difficult passages of the Bible where God is executing judgment. It shows that he never desires this, but he wants people to repent and receive his mercy. Think back to the Canaan Wars. Arguably one of the most prime examples of judgment and warfare in the Old Testament. The Canaanites were brutal, bloodthirsty people. They sacrificed children. And yet God in mercy, we learn in Exodus 18, that God waited 400 years before he set off to command Joshua to bring judgment over those people. And yet even here, the first story, the first interaction with the Canaanites is not a story of judgment. It's a story of mercy. I'm talking about Rahab, the prostitute, Joshua chapter 2. Remember this? We read the story of Rahab at the beginning of this judgment narrative against the Canaanites. And what we learn about Rahab from this story is that the Canaanites knew about Israel's God. They knew that Israel's God was coming to destroy them because they heard the stories from Egypt. They knew that this God was powerful, that he could do it. And we also learned from Rahab that even a prostitute like Rahab could receive mercy. I think the real challenge with the Canaan Wars and the big tragedy is that the Canaanites didn't want mercy. You turn to Jonah, which is where you have under God's command, Jonah prophesies judgment over the people of Nineveh. And so God calls Jonah to prophesy judgment over the Ninevites. He gives the worst sermon ever. You're going to die. Right? The people of Nineveh repent. No judgment. Evidently, the whole purpose for this doom and gloom judgment prophecy was so that the people would have the opportunity to repent, and God was glad to do so. The irony is that Jonah didn't like it. He wanted to see these people burn. God wanted to see them turn. Sorry, that was corny. But you realize that these stories of judgment actually turned out to be stories of mercy, and you realize we're never going to see it this way until we recognize how these stories fit into the larger biblical story by which they find their context.